I'm not worried about the 12-year-old boys that have nothing to do and well, I'm worried about them because eventually they're going to be men, but they're common. Yeah. but
yes.
Do not take product if you are hypersensitive.
Oh, hey, Internet, and welcome back to the Intoxicated Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah McClellan. And if you're a brand new listener, which I'm thinking I will have a few of you for this one, Intoxicated is a weekly comedy variety talk show where I get personal with comedians, creators, and characters. And this week's guest is most certainly all three of those. Guys, this is insane. So this week, I am talking with Alicia Mccarvell. If you haven't heard of her, it's likely that you've been living under a rock and probably have never been on TikTok. So you gotta change that and get on TikTok. Alicia started posting on TikTok just over a year ago, and in less than a year, she has gained 1.5 million followers. She shares videos of her life, her workouts, her relationship with her husband, Scott, and a lot of truth bombs. She is hilarious. She is a truth teller. She is an educator. She is a true creator. And she is here to challenge and change the way we view our bodies and the bodies of others. She is truly inspiring millions of fans every day to start loving themselves and valuing themselves. And she does this on her various platforms. I actually met Alicia when I was doing a shoot for a podcast I am working on called Canadian Love Map. We did a wonderful episode with her and Scott where they shared their love story, and Alicia shared her journey of self-love. And Charmed Diamonds actually surprised her with an engagement ring, and Scott did a surprise proposal right there on the podcast. Because they actually never had an engagement ring when they got engaged. So it was such an exciting experience. There wasn't a dry eye in the store. I will literally never forget this. It was so cool. I'll be sure to link below to the video for that and also the podcast episode if you want to check it out. But I knew after seeing her on Love Map and also from following her for a while that I really wanted to get Alicia on Intoxicated to just share everything, share her journey, to talk about the life of content creation, and of course, self-love and body positivity and confidence. This episode was epic. We actually recorded for over 3 hours. Alicia is a natural at long-form podcasting. This one sort of naturally came together in two very distinguishable parts. So I'm actually going to be releasing this as a 2-part episode because it truly does feel like they are two big topics that deserve their own episodes. So part 1 will be this week, and part 2 I'm going to release next Friday. Alicia just actually went full-time with content creation as a career. So in this first part, we really dive into what it's like to be a content creator, the challenges associated with that, how she manages it, how she stays authentic with her audience, and of course, how she handles hate. This was such a good conversation. I mean, I asked her 1,000 questions and I still probably could ask her more, but I'm just utterly fascinated with the world of content creation, especially with people who are very vulnerable and open about their lives. I'm just so curious and interested in how they deal with that. But Alicia is an absolute inspiration. The whole time I was just completely in awe with her and how mature and intelligent and authentic she is. She really has a head on her shoulders and a good grasp of what she's doing, and it's truly so cool. We actually did run into a slight technical difficulty right at the beginning of this episode. Luckily, it happened just right after I officially opened the episode and introduced her. My computer decided to just shut down. I don't think that it like my computer could handle Alicia and I being together in the same room. That could very well be it. But I did manage to get backup audio. So I will include some of our conversation right before we open the episode, and then we will just get right into it, because in true Intoxicated style, I like to cold open things. So we did start this episode by talking a bit about the choice of whether or not to have children and what that's like for us. I mean, it was great stuff, and that could just be a whole other episode. We'll see. I know for sure that I'm having her back on, and she did say that she would come back on. So I'm holding you to that, Alicia. We will have you back on to talk even about more stuff and just shoot the shit and be silly. But for now, what an epic 3-hour episode of Intoxicated. I am so excited for you guys to hear this. So obviously, for anyone who isn't already, please follow Alicia on TikTok and Instagram. She is at Alicia Mccarvell on both those platforms. Check out her YouTube channel as well with Scott. And on YouTube, they are the Mccarvells. So I'll be sure to link below to all of those places to find her. Although I assume a big chunk of people listening are already fans of her and know how amazing she is. So welcome to the podcast, and I'm so excited for you to hear this deep dive with Alicia Mccarvell. Before I get to the episode, I will remind you to subscribe to the podcast on whatever app you use, and if you've enjoyed it, consider leaving me an Apple Podcast rating and review. This helps way more than you know in terms of getting the word out about the podcast. You can also check out the Intoxicated YouTube channel at youtube.com/intoxicated. I do post video versions of episodes here, and of course, if you're a regular listener and you really love the podcast, you can check out the Intoxicated Patreon. That is patreon.com/intoxicated. But as always, if you can't do any of those things, I would just greatly appreciate you telling a friend, spreading the word, or giving a share on social media. That type of stuff is always greatly appreciated. Whew! Well, guys, it's time. Buckle up for this one. It's a damn good one. I hope you enjoy part 1 with my amazing guest, Alicia Mccarvell.
All right. I have lots of friends with kids, and I take my position in their lives pretty seriously. Like I enjoy spending time with them, and I thought loving them was surreal, because like I love my husband, but like the love that you have for your best friend's child is different. And then when your sister gets pregnant and it's your sister's child, that's like a whole other
layer
step. Like I joked about it. I forget. I think we were live on TikTok, and I was like I love Scott, but like I love Bennett more. And I was like, and I wholeheartedly mean that. Like, and I would assume that Scott would take no offense to that,
it's
because
a different kind of love.
It's completely different. Like I would push Scott in front of a bullet for my nephew. Like it would be bless his heart, but I would.
Yeah, because you're not taking care, like, you might be taking care of Scott in some ways, but, like, it's different with a child, because it's, like, they depend on you for everything.
I just can't wait to spoil, like, I can't wait to, like, spoil him and, like, send him home and him be like, Auntie Alicia is so cool. Like, I can't wait for that moment that he, like, gets home with my sister, and he's like, oh, I can't wait to spend time with Auntie Alicia, and I'll be like, see?
You're the aunt that always has gum.
Yeah, I'm gum. I'm gonna have a new toy every time I see him. Anything that I can possibly do just to like make myself cooler than mom is what I'm going to spend my time doing.
I should have a cool off.
Yes, that's what I'm going to. Bless my sister, but she was like, "That's not what this is about." I was like, "Yeah, yes, it is."
That's so
I've literally
funny.
been waiting to like. And anything that we're planning now in the future, like, anytime we plan now, and we've always explained that to people that, like, when we were planning for our future, we've never planned to have children. So, like, when we were thinking of having a house and those types of things, children just were never, I was never like, I need a 3-bedroom because I'm going to have 2 kids. It was, I needed 2 bedrooms so that when people get drunk at my house, they'll have a place to sleep.
That's right. Yeah.
So, but now, like, we're, like, thinking and dreaming, and I'm like, yeah, but, like, we have to have bunk beds for, like, Bennett. Because like that is like that's a serious thing. So like I've never planned to have my own kids. Like I don't need Bennett to sleep there every night. But if I want to have Bennett over on the weekend, like he needs a place to sleep, like that has to be like a space. That. So it's been like a new learning process to like think of like a future with a kid, but like not my own. Like not.
But you're gonna get the best funnest parts.
100%.
You will get the sleepovers.
I'm gonna teach him how to curse.
You like it. Yeah. It's weird. On the last episode I did, we were talking about kids, and with my friend Kirsten, who's actively trying to get pregnant. And it was weird because she asked me, she's like, you don't want kids, do you? And I was like, I don't know. And she goes, that means you want them. And I was like, does it? I think it just means that I don't know.
Yeah. I don't. It's hard because like a lot of people think first it can be the complete opposite. Scott and I thought we wanted kids. Like we had names picked out for kids. We thought that was like the next step after we got married, and then we got married and all of a sudden we were like, oh shit, like we don't have to have them.
No.
And that's literally what we did. Like when you picture your future 5 years down the road, like does that include a child? And for us at the time, it just didn't. Mm-hmm. And that hasn't changed. Like that hasn't, it's not something, and like you said, not knowing, I don't feel it in my bones that I need to have a child.
Me neither.
Like I just don't feel that. No. Now, does that mean if by some universal conspiracy that 2 years from now I get pregnant and I become a mother, will I not be a good one? It means that I will be a great one. I know I'll be a good mom if that were the thing to happen, but I'm not planning for that for myself.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So many people will get,
and if that changes, that's okay.
Yes, and so many people on TikTok specifically will be like, but what would you do if you got pregnant? I was like, for us, we would probably have a kid and be parents. And like, just because people don't want children doesn't mean they wouldn't be good parents.
That's right. That's right.
Completely. There's a lot of people who have
children
that never thought that they were going to be a parent, but that doesn't mean they don't want to be one.
That's right.
So like, that's why I had tread lightly when people are like, why don't you want kids? And it's just like, because I just don't see myself with them. But if one presented itself and that became something that we were going to have to do and be, I know that Scott would be a great dad, and I know I would be a great mother. I have a great mother, and I have so many great moms in my life that I have learned from and seen, and so like I know that I'd be a good mom, but I'm not actively pursuing to bring a child into my life. Like I like sleeping until lunchtime. I like there's just so many things I enjoy. I like being able to decide to go away on a weekend and not have anything.
You like freedom.
Yeah, so
freedom.
It's been we want to travel, and we want to, and not to say that you can't do that with kids.
It's just much harder.
Can, but Scott and I have dreamed about traveling since, we've been together for so long now that it's like we've always dreamed about traveling, but we've always dreamed about traveling together. We never dreamed about taking our family places. We never dreamed about we've just dreamed about traveling together. And traveling together with your spouse is different than traveling with your family. Those are two different, those are two different types of traveling, right? Often family vacations become about creating an experience for your child, and there's nothing bad with that.
But you're not getting,
you're not getting your, and like we want to backpack in Europe and go to bars at 3:00 in the afternoon and be in our hotel room drunk by 7. Like that's the type of stuff we want to do, and you don't do that when you have children with you. So
that's fair.
I can't anticipate that too many people take their kids backpacking in Europe.
No.
Those that do, I have a lot of respect for, but
it's wild. Yeah. Both of my sisters have no desire to have kids. My oldest sister is doing exactly what you want to do. It's just her and her husband, and they are travelers. Like they go on, well, I mean, not anymore, but like multiple trips a year.
Yeah.
And like their walls that they're on their house are like filled with just pictures of like where they've been.
Yeah.
And it's like, that to me is way more exciting. But it's the same thing. It's like, if I did get knocked up, I might keep it.
Yeah. And I would
rock the fuck out of that.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I know when people are asking that question, they're like, what are your views on abortion? That's what they're asking.
It's their roundabout way.
It's their roundabout ways. And I am all for your body, your choice. You make that decision for you. And I don't, like, personally, I would assume now where I am financially and where my life is that we would choose to keep a child, but I don't know that. Like, I don't know where I will be and what will be happening in my life if that does become, or like now I'm getting older, like having a child as you get older becomes more dangerous for the mom and the child. And like, so there's more to it. There's more to it in that. But I think when people say they don't want children, that people think you hate children so much that you would never have one. And it's like, I'm never going to try to have one. But if I do, then I guess that's where I'm at. And if I change my mind when I'm 45 and I'm like, fuck, like I should have had a kid, I'll adopt one.
Yeah.
So like,
that's the joy of it. It's not just one way. There's so many different ways.
Don't get me wrong. I know for some women, having your own child, that comes from you, that you like, part of like birthing a child is part of the process that you're excited to do and have. Like, I know that for a lot of women that's like something that people are excited to do, but for me that part is terrifying.
Yeah.
And not something not something that I'm interested in doing. So it's like, if we change our mind at 45 and we're ready to settle down, and Scott says to me like, hey, like, we should have a kid, I'll be like, cool, let's adopt one. Like, let's find one that
there's tons that need.
Yeah. So like there's
homes. Yeah.
There's just so many. Not wanting children or wanting children is so dynamic. It's so much more than yes and no. And it's like you said, like, do I feel it? Do I not feel it? Does that matter if I feel it? Like, it's so dynamic. Like, at the end of the day, what I preach to people is like, keep your nose out of women's uteruses. Yes. In general, just mind your business.
And also, and it's also okay to say, I don't feel comfortable answering that. It's none of your business. I don't know what I want. Things change. Like, I don't know. It's just this whole
I just think people should not ask, because it's so dynamic. Like,
what do you think of the question, do you want kids?
Do you want, see, now
it's a different question.
Completely different question, because you're asking me if I would like children, but like, be prepared to accept my answer for what it is. And that's where a lot of the issue happens. If I say to you, do you want kids? Or if somebody says to me, do you want kids? And I say no, I don't need to explain to you why. I don't need to give you an answer as to why. I don't have to tell you what made me decide that. I don't have to tell you like any part of the decision process. If you ask me a question that says, do you want kids? And I say no, that should be the end of the discussion. Or you should be prepared for mothers who are trying to conceive and cannot, or like women who are trying to conceive and cannot, or women who know they can't have children but want them. If you're going to ask that question, you need to be prepared for the answer. Because if you ask a woman if she wants children and she comes back and she says, yeah, I would love my own, but I can't have them, then be prepared to support her in that. Because if you think that you're big enough to ask that question, or you're close enough with the person to do so, then you need to be close enough to support them with whatever comes out of their mouth after that. So
that's right.
Like, that has been my biggest like like, a lot of people are like, but I think that's an appropriate question. I think that it's less about the question of do you want kids and more about how you react to the answer that comes out of the person's mouth. And you just have to be prepared to accept the answer and support them the best way possible. And for me, if you ask me if I want kids and I say no, then
my response is not enough to be a single mom.
Yeah.
That's always my, and people cringe at that response. I'm like, that's just, I have some friends who they just, whether or not it was on their own or with a dude, that they want kids and they'll make it happen. And that's not me. I want a partner. I want someone to help me. Yeah. I want to be able to like pass off baby stuff to somebody. Yes. Like, oh, I dinged. I think that means the episode is officially open. We just got right into it. We're like opening this episode with kid talk.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I
got really deep real quick.
No, I like the warm up. The warm up convo. I guess we'll get started. Yeah, there we kind of already got started. Yeah. And the bell, like you said, everything happens for a reason. And I ding the bell.
Here we are.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
I'm so excited for this. I can't even tell you. Like, just to do
what, you're excited for this?
Yes, because I haven't, I got to do, obviously we're going to get into it, but I got to do the Charmed Diamond podcast in person. But that was like a whole
production. Yeah, it was a little different.
Yeah,
so it wasn't like it was a podcast, but it wasn't like a traditional podcast.
Well, and I haven't done a podcast like this. My podcasts have been all over Zoom.
Dear God, we're back.
You can re-ring the bell if we want to start it. There we go. Woo!
So there's a good chance you might have, if you're on the YouTube channel, you might have just seen audio for a bit there. But we're going to officially open this episode for the second time.
Here we are.
With a trooper.
This is your first time seeing us.
I'm so embarrassed.
This is us.
I was telling Alicia, I'm like, this literally never happens. Like, I feel like I'm someone who's trying to perform well at sex for you.
Yeah, but I've literally never done a live podcast before, so it's not like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like it's like no, I can't.
I'm the guinea pig.
Well, no, I mean like you're talking about sex, so it's like literally like you're having sex with someone for the first time. Like you don't really need to explain yourself at this point.
True.
I know no different. I have no expectations. See,
you don't. Now if you were to go away,
well, I'm sure I have expectations, but it's not like I have anything to compare it to. So
that's exactly that. Yeah. That's exactly it.
Yep.
But if you were to go away and do more and come back, you might expect more of me.
Because see, I'm just excited to be here.
Well, I'm just gonna manifest that nothing will fuck up because
did we almost get a drink up close to a drink in each before we
and
started?
the drink sound effects are like very much welcome.
Oh God.
Oh my God, so much ASMR. The ASMR people hate us. Okay, holy shit. We're gonna reintroduce you.
Okay.
I don't even like. The thing is like I've been following you for so long that I'm legit like when I first met you, I was nervous. Do you get that a lot from people?
Everybody. And it's so funny because I'm not cool. So it's like when people are like nervous to like meet me, I'm like, what? I'm nervous, so I don't know why you're nervous. And then now we'll be out. People like, is this weird? I'm like, it's weirder for you than it is for me at this point. It's not. It's so cool, though. It's wild. So cool because my followers are like majority teen or adult women, and they just want to talk, and it's so cool because they just want to have like a conversation with you. They just want to ask you how you're doing and talk to you about your content and. Yeah, that's really cool. Like it could be worse. I could have some creepy old men as my.
That's very true. You have a really good target audience. I would say.
Yes, I'm very lucky.
So, I mean, I'm gonna give her a hell of an intro, anyways. But I'm here with Alicia Mccarvell, content creator extraordinaire, advocate. You're a role model. Like you're so many things. Like I don't even know.
Jack of all trades.
I don't like. You have so many things about you. Like, I just kind of figured out recently that you're like really artistic and you like draw and stuff.
I draw. I write poetry.
Bitch is multi-talented.
I can't sing.
You can't?
No.
I'm sure you probably.
No, I can't. My sister and brother can both sing.
My
brother's a rapper. Yes.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to my little brother.
What's his name?
Ate.
Okay. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
He's on every platform. He is incredible. So like he writes, produces, and does his own stuff. Not to hype him up, but he does, which is mind-boggling for me because I can create I create video and I create scripts and I write poetry and I do that type of thing. But like his like creating like beats and music from scratch and like it's insane. Like I can write a poem, but like to verbalize it somewhere is a whole other thing. And then my sister is she is a singer. She's very studious and she is super talented, like singing in terms of that type of like creativity. That's so her thing. So like my brother is just this really cool, complex version of the two of us kind of like slapped together, which is super cool because I see him do things and I'm like I can't do that as well as you can, but like I definitely think that you get that from me or like
right.
And then same thing, like he's just so musically talented. And like my sister taught herself to play fucking guitar this summer.
You guys are all
meanwhile she's pregnant and so she's teaching so holy she knows how to play guitar now and like just and they're both so.
Something I was gonna ask you was like yeah, do you think that it was something in your family that like kind of had this like because you're an entrepreneur essentially?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I guess.
And like I guess like, all of your family are kind of like these self-starters. So like this kind of like teach yourself.
Well, see, like it's so funny because my parents own their own business, so they do HVAC, and they've had that since we were kids. So and they've just been really hard workers. Like that has always been their thing for me in my eyes. So when I graduated high school and I went to university, I was doing child and youth, and
I must for you.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where I graduated.
So I did like I did 3 years for like started my 4th year, and like I was just not into it. I am just not a studious person. I don't enjoy school. I don't enjoy sitting in classrooms. Like it's not, especially not that size. Like I possibly could have gotten behind like NSCC and something smaller, more dynamic, where I could build better relationships and be a little bit more involved, I guess. But I was not feeling passionate about it. And so I dropped out of university, and being the first child of your family whose parents have worked really hard to be able to help you go to university, choosing to drop out was like a big deal. It was definitely a big deal, because I was hating it, and having that conversation was not an easy one. But I was like, I'm not passionate about it. I'm not going to do anything with this. Like, I'm being straight up with you. Like, I'm not going to do anything with this. So then I started working for the company I was telling you about earlier. And then I was like, I'm just going to work really hard. Like, I'm just going to work as hard as I can. And I went from the front desk in the daycare to having my own facility and managing my own team. And then, so I had just worked really hard to get there. So whereas like my brother and sister, like my sister has her bachelor in science in education, and she also took time and went and became a physiotherapy assistant. And then now she's doing her master's in education. So it's like she is the complete like opposite. Like she is very extremely studious and good at it, like very good at it. And then my brother, same thing, like truly enjoyed his education. So it was like hard to have that conversation, to be like, yeah, I'm not gonna finish my education. Like I'm not enjoying it. I'm not going to do it. But I am very much my parents, and that, which is very funny, because I feel like a lot of parents work really hard to give their kids what they didn't have, or that they think is what you should have. And then so when you have a child like me who's like, yeah, no, I'm just going to be like you. I'm just going to work really hard. That's been like, that's different. Like it's completely different. So me and my siblings are like very, very much alike, but also so dynamic in terms of like our, you know, our background, our schooling, those types of things. But I am wholeheartedly my parents in terms of like working hard, building, like I would consider this like for me building a business and building a brand and
empire, even like I would say
empire one day. So it's like that, and that for me now at the position that I'm in, it's like all of these years I've spent just working hard is now gotten me to this point where I'm like, now I just get to work hard for myself. Like now I get to work hard for myself and for Scott and for my family, and like I get to work hard building a brand. So it's very funny, because I had mentioned earlier, like I've always been a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And I just think that me spending that time, all of those years, like deciding not to finish my education and to just, you know, work hard and put in time and invest in who I'm working for, has now got me to the point that I'm like, okay, I can do this because I know how to work hard. Like I know how to meet a short deadline. I know how to give a little extra. I know I've done those things for so long that it's like, okay, let's see if I can do this for myself now, which is a lot more pressure. I remember when I quit my job, like when I actually like took the leap to quit my job, I told my parents at their anniversary dinner. At my house. It was at my house. So it was on my territory. So I was like, okay, I'm going to tell them that I'm going to quit my job. And we're all sitting around my table eating keg takeout. And I'm like waiting to I'm going to quit my job. And like, they're like, okay. Like everybody, like I remember like everybody being like, okay. And then my dad's like, for what? And I'm like, to do this, like I'm gonna do social media full time. Like I'm making money now. I have a management team. Like things are going well for me. And he was like, why don't you just keep your job? Why don't you just keep your job while you do it? And like, and this was like such a funny moment, because when I was 19, 21, somewhere in there, I was working for Tim Hortons. And it was like, at the end of it, it was really shitty, but I loved working for Tim Hortons. Again, I worked hard. I was a supervisor. Like, I enjoyed that work. But they, at the end of it, like the location that I was working at was just taking advantage of me. I was in school and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I already don't like what I'm doing for my education. I can't be stressed out with like the crap that you're putting me through. So it was my father who helped me pack up my uniforms and was like, you'll never get too many chances in your lifetime to quit a job because you can. And I was like, okay. And I held on to that for so long. So when I was making the decision to quit my job, in the back of my head was my father back when I was 21 saying to me, like, you're never going to get many opportunities in your life to quit a job because you can. And I was, so I'm
not because you have to,
right?
Because you literally your choice.
Because you can. So I was literally sitting there and I was like, actually, Dad, I was like, if we flash back to when I was 21, I was like, it was you who told me that I'm not going to get too many opportunities to quit my job because I can. And I was like, and I'm in a position right now that I can quit my 9-to-5 job because I can. And I'm going to do it. And he was like, and my mom was like, you did say that. So I was like, and it was such a scary thing that like shouldn't have been scary. Like, I know my finances. I would never choose to quit a job if I couldn't still afford to sustain my life. But I was at this point where I was so half in, half out. Yeah. So like with both my job and social media. So it's like I was half in going to my job during the day and then creating content at night. And then it was like, I'm not giving 100% to either.
And you're probably exhausted.
Right. And it's just like, I don't think that's fair to the job that I'm working, and I don't think that's fair to my content creation. So I was like, okay, I need to choose. Do I continue with what I'm doing with content creation and fucking hope that something comes of it, or do I, stay with my job? Like, which do I pick? So I just have spent a lot of my time in my life doing things for other people and doing, my job with the company that let me go, and just spending time on things that didn't necessarily bring me joy, that I was like, fuck it. Fuck it. I'm quitting. I did it.
Good for you.
I brought in my letter. And the funny thing is we and Scott had talked about it, and we had agreed that if I could make my salary, once I made my salary of what I would have made in my position, then I could quit my job. Like, that was, and it wasn't like he said you could, no man's going to tell me what to do. But it was more of like a collaborative, like, as a couple, what can we afford to do, and how would it make sense?
You got to be realistic and practical.
So, and I did include him in the decision. I didn't just do it. But yeah, so that's what we had decided. So the minute I was that close to it, I was just like, there's no point. My job was going to go work from home. I'm like, I'm not making these poor people send me all my shit home and then maybe like 2 weeks later come get it, like, sorry, I'm not working from home. So I wrote up my letter, but I wrote up my letter at work because I don't have a printer.
I love it. I wrote up I don't either, and I'm like, I need to get a printer. I need to be an adult and do this.
Yeah, I wrote up my letter at work, and then I brought it home, and I tricked Scott into thinking that I had quit my job before. Like, he knew that it was coming, but I had tricked him into thinking that I had done it without telling him for sure. So he walked through the door, and I handed him the letter, and he was like, "Did you quit?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay, let's do this." And I was like, I didn't quit yet. I was like, but I'm going to quit tomorrow. Because I just was like, it was just like a good reassuring moment. Not that I ever anticipated him to not be that way. He's been that way. I know we talked about it on the Charm podcast, but like, he's been my number one fan forever. And if I told him tomorrow that, I don't know. If I told him anything tomorrow, he'd be like, okay, if you think that's going to work, let's do it. Like, so yeah, that was,
he's a let's roll with it.
Yeah. So guy. I got to work the next day, and I handed them my letter, and I worked out my almost 2 weeks. They let me go a little bit earlier, which was fine. There's no point in me starting a new month. So it was, and this is it. And here we are today. So that was October 31st is my last working day. And so it's been two and a half months.
So
yeah,
how are you doing with it? How are you? That's my first question.
I am happy.
Okay. Are you okay? Because I won't lie, watching, like, as a fan, and a follower of yours, I feel like I get like some empathy pangs sometimes. Well, not only because I see what you have to deal with and the shit you take and all of that, but also I'm like, is she sleeping? Is she tired? Does she have someone managing her DMs? The DMs thing.
I manage my own DMs.
I can't imagine how many DMs you must get.
So many. It's too many that I can't answer. I can't answer all of them. I can't. And I've had a few people be like, you should get somebody else to answer your DMs. And I'm like, no, because I'm not like, part of my brand is being authentic, and I don't need a random person answering the people that send me messages, and I would rather just not answer. Like, if that's the case, I'd rather read it. And to be very honest, I read 98% of my DMs. So
that's pretty damn good.
That
98%?
Right after the new year, I deleted a whole bunch of the requests. I just was like, I'm starting clean in 2021 just so that I can feel a little bit less pressure. So I deleted a lot of the requests that had come through, but I get to read a majority of them, and I'm just learning to just shut them off when I need to, because a lot of the times it's only overwhelming because people just want to give you a kind reaction. Like, it's not, nobody's doing, for the most part, nobody's being like mean or aggressive. It's like usually just like, if I post my outfit, my audience is so engaged right now with my content that it's incredible, because I can post like, I'll show you right now.
Actually, while you're pulling that up, I'm just going to stop this really quick, and I'm going to save it to the same. I'm going to save this. I'm just like so paranoid about it crashing again. Here. I'll let that save. Why? Come on. Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
So like, we can go through like my stories right now. So like, literally me eating an ice cream cone got 124 replies yesterday.
Holy shit.
And then that is literally nothing compared to like some days. Like, so 2 days ago, my which video was it? Me talking about going around the oval on one lap.
I loved that one.
Yeah. Me talking about going around the oval on one lap was, I had like 400.
Holy shit. And these are they messages or just reactions?
No, they're replies. They're like full blown replies to what I'm saying. So like, 92 to this one, 40 to this one, 10 to this one, 26 to that one. Like, my outfit one that I just posted is 173. I haven't even read those yet. So it 175 to this.
And I'll just say,
and these are all different too. Like, they're like, in the span of literally an hour, I now have like 400 DMs that I have not replied.
I'm also getting a bunch of notifications just because I think you tagged me. Like, so there you go. So okay, so like, I don't even know where to start with this, because here's the thing. I feel like the word influencer, which that's what you are, right? Is it a dirty word? I kind of feel like for some people it's a dirty word.
It's not a dirty word to me, but it's a dirty word to other people. Like, in a sense that, like, I would consider myself a content creator. That is how I am going to introduce myself to people. Yeah. I think the word influencer, I think that there's a couple different types of influencers, if I will. I think that there are influencers that have their platform and were given their platform because of the influence they have on people for products and fashion and things like that. And then I think that there are people like me who I don't want my influence to lie in my Lululemon brand deal. I want my influence to lie in the fact that you choose to buy yourself a crop top because it makes you feel better about yourself.
You have a message attached to it.
I want my influence. My message is about loving yourself. It's not about you choosing to buy the products that I have.
That's right.
So for me, a lot of people enjoy the influence part of things, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that there are plenty of influencers that I follow that I just enjoy seeing the products that they're using or things like that don't necessarily have a message behind their platform.
That's exactly it. And you want to know what? On a recent episode, we got into it talking about, because I have a comedian friend who really doesn't like influencers.
Yeah.
And I was literally just like, they're not all the same. Alicia's doing amazing things. And I mentioned you and I was like talking you up because I was just like, I just feel like it's this weird, dirty, like it's this weird stigmatized word. Yes. And it's really triggering for people because I think people see influencers or they see like the people you mentioned, they think, oh, they don't have talent. And like they were just given this platform and like they're selling us stuff now.
I don't begrudge people who have that. Like,
exactly.
I do not begrudge that at all. Like, I think that there is a time and a place for that. And I think that what I do is different.
Absolutely.
And I think that content creator matches me better because it kind of encompasses everything. I create content that inspires. I create content that is funny. And I create content for brands to pay my bills.
That's right.
I am a content creator.
Yeah.
I don't care if you buy the products that I'm posting about. That has no impact on whether or not I'm going to show up tomorrow to still hype you up and empower you.
That's right.
That's not what's important to me. What's important to me is the fact that you feel good when you watch my videos, but I still need to pay my bills in order to be able to give you the content that you indulge in and see at the end of your day and enjoy viewing. And I hope come to watch to feel better about yourself. So like in order for me to do that full time and create the quality content that I want to create, I also have to create content for brands. So that's just part of that world. So I've been trying really hard to kind of destigmatize my ads. And I'm sure you've seen my posts and stuff, just explaining it to people, because if you are checking into, this has been the easiest way to explain it to people. If you're checking into the Alicia Mccarvell channel and you come home after your day and you click on my channel so that you can watch how my day was and the things that I got up to, and you have a couple laughs, and then all of a sudden an ad appears, it's a commercial. It's essentially, for me, it's a commercial that typically only lasts 1 minute, that I talk about a brand that I've vetted, that I know the background of, that I truly do use.
Yeah.
Like I'm not selling you things I haven't used before. And products that I actually do indulge in. And then once that minute's over, it's back to the regular programming.
I love
and
that.
That's the way that that's the way people should view it, especially if your content creator has a platform in which they have a motive and a message behind it, because you want to indulge in my message and you want to listen to me and you want to feel good and you want to laugh, but I still have to pay my bills at the end of the day. And I don't want to have to ask my followers for that. Like, I don't want to have to say to them, in order for you to, because there's plenty of people do it. There's Patreon, there's OnlyFans, there's plenty of people who indulge and work and ask the people who are watching them for money. So there is platforms that you can do it. I'm just not interested in those platforms right now.
That's right.
So it's like, in order for me to pay in order for me to pay my bills, I need you to sit through a 45-second or a 1 minute video about why I think Lululemon is great. I need you to like, share, comment on, or engage with my post about Mary Brown's. I don't need you to go out and buy Mary Brown's, but I would be appreciated if you could like a button and tell me my hair looks good. Like, it doesn't do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be a big thing. And it's been very eye-opening for me too, like how much content for creators that I do watch that I don't engage with. So like now, like I have a specific time of day where I go to like my favorite content creators and I swipe up on all of their links and I comment on all of their videos, because I know how important that is for the engagement of that person. Their stats, brand deals, all of that stuff matters. So I think that it's very, the word influencer makes sense, because do I influence people for things? Yes, I do. Like I so many people bought new Lulu clothes, and I'm happy about that, because Lulu has always made me feel good in my body and has been what I've used for exercise. So I'm glad that women are getting that opportunity to do the same for themselves. But more importantly, my goal when I'm, on my platform on a regular basis is just to influence people to make healthier, happier, and more choices of love for themselves and their bodies. That is where I want like my influence to be. So I spend a lot of time like digging into that for questions like this, because there is a lot of stigma.
And people don't understand it is the other thing. They don't understand the work that goes into content creation.
Like I create those videos. I edit them.
Not only that, but it's your time and your life, and like, you know, like you're sharing. It's very vulnerable what content creators do.
Yeah.
And also too, there's not a lot of separation from work and personal life.
Yeah.
And like you and I are cut from the same cloth. Like we are people who talk openly about our lives. We share aspects of our lives. And so like, what are the challenges with that? Because obviously, you must have some time that you set aside for you're not recording it, you're not posting about it.
I don't. So I'm very lucky because Scott and I have been together for a very long time, and I've always kind of shared our life with our friends and family. I've never really had a filter in that sense. So like that's nothing new to him. But like when we're out for dinner or when we're out for drives, like it sounds funny, but we go for drives all of the time. That is our space to get out of the house for more than one reason. I work in there. I live in there. It's nice for us to just like get up and leave it. We're in the middle of a pandemic. I don't want to sit at home all the time. So it's like, we'll just get up and drive. And we've always done that, but we never really realized how impactful just like getting out for 35 minutes to not be in the house really is.
It's so key.
So that's something that we do that use of phones is not a part of. So like if we're out for like our long drive, and like Scott is the protector of that for me, because if I'm being completely honest, it's habit. Like
I was gonna ask, are you addicted?
It's a habit.
Yeah.
I think it's less being addicted to having. I like to be updated now. Like it's one of those things that it's like, this is how I pay my bills now. So there also has to be a little bit more understanding about me having my phone, which is another side of the thing. So yes, I need to set boundaries for myself and my platform. And when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I turn the comments off so that people can't write me in my stories. So I just shut that down. And then once a week usually I'll pick a time, whether it's something Scott and I are doing or something that if people really feel the need to send me a message, they can still go to my profile and send me a message.
Right.
Which is fine. A couple people do that here and there. But I don't need to like see my phone going. I have no Instagram notifications on my phone.
That is actually, I read
no
somewhere.
Instagram, no TikTok, there's no outside. I think the only thing that I have, I think this comes up on here, but I think the only thing that I actually have is like my YouTube and my calendar.
So when you actually open up your TikTok, do you see all the numbers on the bottom?
Yeah, but there's no way to, at this point, like there's no way for me to actually analyze those numbers. So like I don't see every comment that, thankfully, I don't see every comment that comes in. I see my messages, but I actually have cut myself off from replying to my TikTok or to my TikTok messages. I don't. So it depends. If they're people who are like my friends on TikTok, so like other people that I follow that they follow me, that comes to a different mailbox on TikTok. So if people request to send me a message, I'll read some of the ones that are like big and kind. I'll read, but it's 1.5 million people on that app.
Shit.
So it's like it's 1. different.
1.5 million. Okay, 1.5 million. 1.5 million followers on TikTok. And how many on Instagram?
I'm almost at 215,000.
So you're getting up there on there as well.
Yeah.
That's in, and you just had your 1 year, was it 1 year anniversary on TikTok or 2 years?
1 year.
1 year.
During the podcast.
Yeah. So you had one video go viral, right? Is that how it kind of started?
Yeah, now I've had a bunch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like
you're like viral. That's just a Tuesday.
now, but yes, originally it was the one video, which is kind of like set things over the edge and kind of spiraled into where we are today.
Which was, what was the TikTok?
My boyfriend's 10 times hotter than me. I knew what I was doing when I was doing that. People are all the time, they're like, oh, but you talk about body positivity and then you talk about how your husband's hotter than you. And I'm like, I think I'm beautiful. Yes. Like I think that I'm a great person, but by society standards, my husband is hotter than me. Like, I'm not, the part of coming to where I am with my body is realizing how much society has played an impact on how I feel about myself. I'm not naive to those standards. I knew when I was going through the videos of my boyfriend's 10 times hotter than me, I'm like, there's no physical differences between any of these couples. And I'm like, you're both fucking hot. Like, why are you saying that you're 10 times, like, your partner's 10 times hotter than you? So by societal standards, they're attractive couples that were posting. So I was like, fuck, I'm posting. And Scott was like, no. And I'm like, I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing it. And I was like, I'm wholeheartedly going to exploit you. So I did it, and like, this is like my second or my third ever TikTok, one in there, and it was literally, I posted it, and then all of a sudden, like, it started. It was slow at first, like, it was because I only had 2 TikToks, but that sound was super popular at that time, so it was getting out to more people. And then I remember my sister texting me being like, oh, holy shit, 300,000 views. And then like 2 hours later she was like 600,000 views. And then I was like, oh my god. So like one night, and then we literally went to bed and we woke up the next morning and it was like 56,000 followers.
Fucking shit, that's insane.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh crap, like now people like,
no, people are watching. Yeah. And you chose to roll with it and just keep going.
Well, I mean, I was like, we were both like, what do we do? Like, people are here. And this is so funny because I talked to Scott about this, but I have joked about feeling like I was always supposed to be famous. Like, and it sounds funny, and I realize now when I say it, it sounds like conceited. Like, I realize that it sounds like ridiculous, but I used to joke being like, I could be a superstar. Like, I could totally be, because and that's mainly because my personality is so like outgoing, and like, I'd have no problem being in the limelight. Like, that's what I used to tell him. And we joke about it. So when the platform, like when we had 56,000 followers, he was like, oh shit, you might be famous. I was like, I'm not famous. This is not how this works. But I used to joke about that all the time because there's nothing I wanted more than to be able to like have other people listen to the things that I say and feel better about themselves. And it was always been about that. It's always been about being funny and making people laugh and like empowering people in general. Yeah. So like when it presented itself, I was like, I might as well try. Like,
that's amazing. Yeah.
Why not give it a shot and see what happens?
I had one hit 3 million and then I froze.
Which one was it?
The whore one, where my friend called me a whore. Yeah. So like that happened, and like I literally shut down. I was like, nothing I do will ever like.
That's not how the app works.
It's wild.
It is so wild, and my growth has been fast, but also like slow, and like, but also steady. Like there are some creators that create 3 videos and have 6 million followers. Like that
they hit like something specific that like really.
So like, and the other thing for me is that my followers aren't very avid on the platform. Like they're just getting into the platform when COVID hit. So like my age group, that 25 to 35 in terms of dynamics, weren't on the app. The app was always viewed as being an app for younger people. That when COVID hit, it was like all of a sudden we need something to do.
People are bored going on TikTok.
That's so true. So it just, it's so funny when people talk about like 2020 and like it was a shitty year, but like it was a good year for us, like for me. And COVID allowed me to support people. COVID allowed me to put myself out there and become a stress-free way for people to end their shitty days. And it became, so that's where I benefited from that, because people were joining the app, and the people who were 27, 35, 40, 50 are looking for people that are their age. They're not looking for the dance side of TikTok. They're looking for funny
thank you.
Yeah, they're looking for like funny content and that side of things. So I think I just was able to present myself that way, and then I just found my people. And like, it's just, you're just such a breath of fresh air is the thing. And like, this sounds cheesy, but like going back to what you said about you feeling like you always had to be famous or were going to be famous, I just feel like there's some people who
like, and I'm not going to take credit for this saying because I heard it on a fucking podcast. I think it was Olivia Munn who said this. But like, there's some people who are meant to weather storms and get through things, and that's it. And then there's other people who are meant to weather a storm, get through it, but then turn back and try to change that for other people.
Yeah.
And like, that's what you're doing because you've gone through a whole journey.
100%.
And now you're taking that journey and you're trying to help other people through theirs.
I just think that everybody thinks the world is so big, and it is, if we're talking population and in distance. But TikTok, and I know some people hate it, I know some people like it, but TikTok for me has been a way for me to connect with people all across the world, to realize that I am not alone, that the way that I feel, the dynamics of my relationship, my humor, the things that I've gone through, I'm not the only person that goes through those things. And I think that that's been the coolest part about TikTok, is for people to come and find their people.
That's right.
People who are struggling and don't have that community and support are able to come onto TikTok and find those people and naturally find that community and feel connected and feel involved and feel empowered. And I've just been lucky enough to be able to create my own community and fill it with people who have been through the same things, are going through the same things, and just need that support. So TikTok has been a blessing for me, obviously in my life, but just also because it's made the world not seem so big. And I think that's a lot of people feel like the world is so big and that they're the only one going through those things, or they're the only one struggling. And I was, I think about it like high school, and a lot of high schools have big populations and they have cliques, but typically you're able to go into a high school after being in a junior high in a smaller setting, and then you get to high school and you find your people. A lot of people find their people in high school because you find people who are similar to you that you just didn't have that diversity in junior high. You just don't have. And I feel like TikTok has done that for a lot of people. It's like, well, let's just open up the world. Yeah, like, let's help you connect with people who you would never talk to or see.
That's so true. And do you find that it's actually, because like one observation that because I fucking love it, like it makes me so happy. It's one of my favorite apps. Like, I would say it is my favorite app over, and me saying that, it's crazy because Instagram was up there for me for so long, but now it's like, because I loved Vine so much, I feel like it's like kind of like the new Vine in a weird way. But do you find that it is one of the more positive apps in terms of the actual comments?
Yes, because I say that because I've posted X amount of reels on Instagram. I've never had to turn the comments off. Actually, that's a lie. I turned the comment off on one of my videos on TikTok, but on my reels on Instagram, and I've posted maybe 11 of them, I've had to turn the comments off on 2 so far. And I've only been posting reels on Instagram for a few months. So I think that it's less about the like being more positive, more negative. I just think that for me, the positive way more outweighs the negative in terms of my platform. But it depends on where your videos go viral, because I have a video of Scott and I transitioning from towels into like date wear, and I started to blow up, but it is blown up somewhere in Europe. And really, they don't like me. The comments are, because you can translate the comments on the thing. It blew up, and it's all mean comments, no nice ones. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very aware that society here and society there, like things are different in different cultures and different parts of the world, and I'm very much not the norm over there. So it was, it blew up. So like, it depends on where you go and what you go viral for. And for me as a plus size woman, a lot of the time my videos, like my original video that I went viral for, I knew was going to go viral the wrong way. It wasn't going to go viral and people were going to be like, no, you're beautiful. I knew that when I posted that, it was going to go viral and people were going to be like, what is that hot, attractive man doing with a plus size woman? I knew that was
and you still did it anyway.
Yeah, because I'm not insecure about that. anymore. Like that is not, I anticipated that happening. And then when it did, it did. So like it was, and originally when it first started to blow up, like there were a lot of negative comments, but now that I built my platform, I rarely see the negative anymore.
Because you found your people. Your people found you.
And then there's so much positive that
it doesn't even, that was what I was going to ask, because when it first started happening, what was it like seeing those negative comments? Because I know that everyone deals with like social media comments differently. I know for me, I hate this about myself, but I will focus on the 2 negatives versus the 20 positives. And I know that that's a confidence thing and that comes with time.
It's not even, that's hard because that's not even a confidence thing. That's a like, why are you being an asshole on the internet thing?
That's like human decency.
To be honest, a lot of people focus on the 2 negative things and not the 20 positive things because you should be a good human. Yeah. I should expect positive things on my videos. Right. I should expect that when you choose to put yourself into the comments of my videos that you're going to be a decent human being. So then when people go against that, it's shitty because it's like, I expected you to be good and yet here you are. So it's not always a confidence thing. Right. It's not always a confidence thing. It's more so like I just expect better from the world. So like what the fuck are you doing with an anonymous TikTok account spending your time trying to belittle people on the internet? Like that is
so true.
So originally when the first like grouping of hate comments, I was prepared for the ones on the original video that I posted. Like I knew that was going to happen. But there have been some shitty ones where I've fixated on them. I fixated on the one the other day. And I guess it just depends because the comments that bother me the most are not the people who are like posting pig emojis. Like they're not the people that are like, oh, you're fat. Like I'm not fucking stupid. Like I see myself every day. Like you're not bothering me when you post those things. The people that bother me the most having a platform are the people that think they're right in their views of fat people. Like that's the stuff that bothers me. Or grown-ass men who think that they can go onto a platform and bully women or people in general. So like that's where I kind of draw the line for me. I'm not worried about the 12-year-old boys that have nothing to do and are you know, well, I'm worried about them because eventually they're going to be men, but their comment, but yes, their comments on my videos are not what gets to me. That's right. It's the things where people are like, oh, you're going to die because you're obese. And it's like, no, I'm not going to because I see my doctor regularly and I'm well aware of my health risks and I exercise. So it's like, I'm not like, no, but that's how they view in my mind. A lot of people say those things because that's how they actually view every fat person. And those comments get to me because I can take them. I can handle them. I've been through it. There's nothing you're going to say to me that's going to offend me, but that is not the case for everybody. And that's where I find it hard accepting those comments because it's like, if you're doing that to me and you know I have 1.5 million followers, what the fuck are you doing to somebody who has 11? What are you doing to somebody who has 150? Because it's and how are they taking it?
How are they taking it?
So like when a 15-year-old kid who's put themselves out on the internet gets the pig emoji online, that's hurtful for them. Like that is, you know, like they're growing, they're learning on who they are. So it's like, I can accept those because I'm well aware of the intention, but not everybody is. So I try really hard to reply to them in a humorous way. Like I try to be kind and clever for the most part. Yes. I tried to hit them back with a lot of the similar things that they'll say. Like people will jump on and be like, I don't know. I was going to save some so that I could show them to you, but I didn't get a chance to go through TikTok today. So like there's some that people will say things and I will clap back as hard as I possibly can to be like, shut the fuck up. But like the most recent one, did you see my most recent one?
No, what was it?
So here I'll show it
Bring
to
it
you
up.
So you can
pull it up. I'm gonna tilt this webcam down. Hold it. Oh man. No.
Did you even listen to the words?
So I'll open this up so you can see my response. But the song says I have a pretty face, a small waist, pretty face, and a big bank. Big bank being big butt, obviously. And then this grown-ass man who's the father of 4 teenage boys had duetted it and posted it. And he had a platform of probably 3,000 people. And posted it. And then he said, did you even listen to the words? And I fixated on this. And Scott is so good at respecting my space because I fixated on it. And then we're sitting there and I was like, I'm going to reply to him. So, like, I'm going to need you to leave me here for 15 minutes so that I can do that. So, yeah, and this was my response to that.
Ooh, let's hear it.
First and foremost, I'd like to clear this part up for you. Now that we've cleared that up, I'd like to remind you that you are a grown-ass man, a father to teenage boys. And today, you got on the internet, you saw a woman who was feeling herself, and you thought it was your job to try to make her feel bad. Luckily for me, I couldn't give a flying fuck what you think, but that's not the case for everybody. So I just wanted to remind you that you can be funny, have original content, and not be an asshole. Oh, and you'll set a good example for your kids too. And like, you can come for my waist because it's like medium on a good day, but don't come for my fucking face. Look at this thing. It's a fucking masterpiece.
So I was so mad. And like in his profile, it said over 40. Like, okay, specify. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Just specify how old you are.
Over
And then
40.
Over 40. And then father of 4 boys. And I think that that's what sent me over the edge.
Yeah.
Because I was like, here's this man who thought it was appropriate to try to make a woman he doesn't know feel bad about it. So like, if that is your if that's your empathy for a stranger, like, just imagine. And I know your kids follow you. I know they see you. Yep. So then I was going through his content and I was like trying to make my decision on whether I was going to reply, because I do vet who I do reply to.
Oh, interesting.
I do vet because I also realize that there are people who lash out because they're insecure and because they don't have support or they don't have love and kindness. And I do realize that that does happen, but that was not the case for this man. He has a wife and 4 kids and she has hobbies, and like he literally just thought that. And as I was going through his other content, there were a few other videos of him making fun of people. Specifically what sent me over the edge was a video of him making fun of a man with some type of mental disability, and the way he spoke. People. So as soon as I saw that video, I was like, I'm taking my pants off and I'm showing him my butt. Like, I'm like gonna do it. So Scott left and I did it. And like, that's, I would like to say that he no longer has a platform. And
did he get
no, he deleted it, which he should have, but I posted the video and I tagged him, because sometimes I don't. Sometimes if I reply to certain, that's why I vet the people who I do tag or I don't tag, or who I am going to reply to, because I'm not naive to the fact that I have 1.5 million followers who will come for the throats of people who are trying to belittle me.
That's right.
But at this point I was like, I really don't care. Like, 1, you're making fun of me. 2, there's multiple videos of you making fun of people with disabilities. I literally have no respect for you already. So it's like, so I posted that, and like within minutes, his most recent video was just filled with people. And for the most part, which is the other cool part, for the most part, because my followers are older, the things that they say are more respectful in terms of putting people in their place. Like, you need to be better. Like, you're a father, you need to be a better man. Like
there's no name calling.
Yeah, but I mean, there's definitely still some, but
which is understandable. There's
definitely still some,
and he deserves that.
Yeah. So it would like, but at that point, like, I wrote in the comments of my video, I don't condone bullying this man. Like, I don't condone you telling somebody ever to like kill themselves, or you know, like, I don't condone. That's not the point of my message here. My point is to like educate and essentially put you in your place, like show you that it's not okay. So yeah, within an hour of my video being posted, he changed his TikTok name. So I removed my video, reposted my video, and re-tagged him in the comments with his new tag. And I was like, yeah, you're not getting away with changing your TikTok name. Then that second time, he took down the 2 videos of him making fun of 2 other people, and then the video of me, and then the video where all of my my followers were commenting on it, and then within 15 more minutes his platform was gone completely, and he deleted the account.
Owned.
And that, do I necessarily feel like everybody deserves to lose their platform for things that they do? No, but he took it too, he is a grown-ass man and he took it too far. You are an adult that is supposed to have morals and values, and that is different than a 16-year-old who needs to be educated on how to treat people. They're still learning. You're an adult. You're now teaching 16, 17, and 18-year-old boys how to be, and that's not okay.
Holy smokes.
That's how I kind of choose what I do and don't respond to, is do I need to educate here, or is this person just need to kind of get a taste of their own medicine?
That is so true. And I tend to not like it when people just by default will say things like, let it cool down, just don't let it bother you, just ignore them. Just ignore them, is because I actually tell off a lot of guys on dating apps for how they talk to me, and obviously probably a lot of other women too. Yeah. And I've been known to post screenshots of dating app conversations. And I do get the response of why are you putting your energy into this? And I think it's similar to you.
Always.
And usually when I call people out on guys online, I explain why. You know, and it's the same kind of thing. It's we can at least try, we can try to make people better. Whether or not they do it,
100%.
who fucking knows? But we can try.
It's not, this is the thing. I don't agree with buying into every little comment that's made. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with you telling a person that posts a pig emoji on my video to go fuck themselves. I mean, I think that that's appropriate, but I'm not going to spend my time doing it. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is when the issue is a lot of the times when women specifically stick up for themselves, it's viewed as being overly sensitive or putting too much time and energy into it, or you should spend your time on the positive stuff. And my personal opinion is that behavior condoned is behavior accepted. Yeah. So, or let me rephrase that. What is the actual quote? Because I had this written down. Behavior ignored is behavior condoned.
That's right.
That's the actual quote.
Right.
So
by doing nothing, you're kind of doing something.
I ignore a 55-year-old man posting about my body online, then I'm condoning that behavior for him to do to every other woman on the internet. So when you when you ignore the behavior of these men on these dating apps who are speaking to you like you're not a human being, then you were condoning that man to do that to every other woman he speaks to.
That's right.
And there is that is a very different thing than me putting my energy into things that shouldn't exist, or things that are negative. That's not the same. So for some things, it's very important to me, that quote specifically. It's if I ignore this, who else are they going to do this to? And that's why I vet the people who I'm posting it, who I'm going on about, or who I'm going to reply to, or how I post about it. Because who else are they going to do this to? A 20-year-old who has already beaten up on themselves, who already feels like nobody, who was posting about their body for the first time, who is now going to feel shitty about themselves for the next 2 years because of a grown-ass man on the internet, that.
Exactly.
And that's right. So it's that it's a fine line between spending time acknowledging every single person that posts something negative, or actually holding people accountable for their fucking shitty actions, because that is very different. It's very different. I'm not going to teach a 12-year-old boy that he shouldn't post comments on my videos. I can be funny and reply to him and try to make him feel stupid, because that's funny, but I don't need to make a full video and send all of my people his way to say things that might be detrimental. And that's why I think it's important when you're talking and who you're sharing with, these are grown-ass men on your dating app. These are grown-ass men who are going on dates with other women, who are speaking to other women, who are going to continue to do this. And you're right, I might share that video and nothing might happen. But if I don't do my due diligence and I don't do that for myself, then I'll never forgive myself if that person goes on to do that to another person and puts them in a mind state that causes them harm.
That's right. Also, we're forgetting the fact that like when you comment on a video, or if you stitch a video, or if you are talking to a woman on a dating app, these are public fucking platforms,
100%.
and that person has every right to screenshot that, to reshare it, and if you're doing that to someone with a platform, they can repost that and call you the fuck out.
There is someone who I follow on Instagram, and she just made a post this week. Wheelchair Rapunzel. I don't know if you follow her, but she's on TikTok. And she posted last week about like, why do we hold people with platforms accountable for sharing or breaching people's privacy when these people have put themselves out there? And like, that's always been my view. Listen, if you're gonna be a shitty human to me, I'm going to fucking tag you. I don't have, it depends, like, and like I said, like, for the most part I vet it.
Yeah, you take a look.
Like, I had one last 2 weeks ago, a lady comment on my video talking about how much fat women disgust her, and how she almost vomited while watching my video. So this, like, we all know you didn't actually almost vomit. Like, let's not be dramatic, Patty. But like, I then do some research, and this woman is a yoga instructor that is taught to coach all different types of body types, and is working in the fitness industry. And I was like, fuck no, sorry. So I screenshotted it, posted it, and then people went to her work and people went to her things, and she has since denied that it was ever her, and somebody apparently hacked her account to go make fun of fat women on the internet.
Oh my God.
Anyways, that's a whole other topic. But you're not going to vocalize your opinion that disgustingly on my platform and then go teach your yoga class 2 days later with fat women in it. Yeah. You're not gonna,
and she's in the fitness industry. Right. She would have some influence in it.
You're not going to get away with that. And like, it's not okay at this point. And where I was reading something today about talking about freedom of speech and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's not you. I understand that. But at the same time, if you're going to feel like you are a big enough person to put your opinion or those words on the internet, then you're a big enough person to handle the consequences. God damn. So yeah, that's exactly it. I vet the people who I hold accountable. I do, because I think that there's a difference, like I said, than holding a 16-year-old boy accountable so severely versus a grown-ass man or woman
over 40.
Right.
Which are usually the worst types of men to try to change, because they're very stuck in their ways. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, at this point, you are supposed to have built your morals, and you're
supposed to, yeah.
Right. So if you at this point don't have them, then I'm just going to assume you just don't have them. So it's, this attitude of pay no mind and ignore and it's very schoolyard mentality in a weird way. We're told, I mean, think about that. Like, when you're kids and stuff and you're telling your parents or you're telling your teachers that somebody is bugging you, typically the answer is, oh, just ignore it.
Just ignore them.
Or like and listen, sometimes people need to be punched in the face. Like, sometimes people need to be put in their place when they're doing things, because that might make them think twice next time. And that is kind of, do I think that goes for everybody? Like I said, no. Like, when people are posting pig emojis and like doing things like that, like, I know you're looking for a rise out of me, but when somebody actually posts something to be funny that's meant to literally belittle me or women that look like me, then you no longer deserve the platform you have, and then you are going to be held accountable for the things that you were choosing to say and put out into the world.
Because those people are clearly, they're spreading hate. They are going out there and spreading hate. Yeah. And anything that you can do,
you can have an opinion on whether or not I look good in red. Yeah. You can have opinion on whether or not where I should buy my clothes at. Like, you can have an opinion on that. Am I going to take it? But you don't get to have an opinion on whether or not I'm attractive. You know, and you don't get to post that publicly and expect me not to stick up for myself. You don't get to have an opinion on whether or not I'm healthy because you don't live in my body. You don't get to have an opinion on my relationship because you see 15-second videos of my husband and I's relationship. So like, there's a difference between having an opinion and then there's having an opinion that you know is going to be hurtful, that your intention isn't to actually have a debate. Your intention is to make me feel shitty or to make people feel shitty. And I think that it teeters a line. So I think people are just naturally like, oh, don't let it bother you, when it's like, no, sometimes like people need to be held accountable. Like I have a system. I vet people. I do those things, but that's my system, and that's the system that I've set up for myself since I started doing it, and it's a system I'm going to continue to use. If you send me shitty things, I'm going to post about them. If you belittle women who, in general, but women who look like me, and you're someone who is supposed to have already developed your morals, and you've got that baseline down, or you're a parent who's supposed to be teaching a child, I'm going to tell you that what you're saying is wrong, because if I don't,
who will?
Right.
Who will?
Who will? What's the point of having a platform if I can't clap back at a few people?
I totally fucking agree.
And it's empowering.
Yes.
It's empowering to see a fat woman get online and stick up for herself. There are a lot of fat women who are looking at me and my platform and saying, yeah, like I feel that way and I can't believe he did that. But I wouldn't have the confidence to say that, or I wouldn't have the ability to do that. So it's not just about sticking up for myself. It's about sticking up for my community and my platform and the people who trust me. So it's like there's that fine line.
There's that fine line, and it's just certain people. There are certain people that are just, I think, are truly meant to try to change narratives, that are meant to try to change people's behaviors. And
like, do I think that Bill is going to, that was his name. Do I think that Bill is going to be like, boys, I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that to that woman? No, but Bill no longer has a TikTok with 3,000 followers on it. I know that it is hard for somebody to get 3,000 followers on TikTok. So you no longer have that now. So you've got to start from scratch. And now that you've been put in your place, are you going to post the same content? I don't think so.
Probably not.
So, and if you do, I'm probably going to find you and I'll do it again. So
so when you told Scott to leave and you made that, number one, how long did it take you to make? This is stupid things that I want to know.
10 minutes.
And did you feel so much better after that?
So much better.
Like, did you feel like you just took like a big shit?
So good. Yeah, because I mean, like, there are things that just fester, and I knew, and that's like part of having a platform in general, is understanding where your boundaries are with those things and what stuff is going to affect you and what stuff isn't going to affect you. And I knew the minute that got posted that was going to continue to affect me. And I knew that the only way for me to deal with that was to stick up for myself. So that was, I weathered on it. I vetted him. I went through his content and I decided that was what I was going to do. And sometimes I vet people and I'm like, okay, it's not worth my time. Because sometimes you go through people's content and you're like, okay, this makes sense that you're lashing out. Like, I see why you might be hurting, or I get it. You know, like, I'm not the first person that you've done this to. You can see that. People don't think you can see that on content, but you can. Like, I can see when I'm going to my content and videos of other people that I understand that they might be going through something and I'm not. It's just easier to take it out on
That's such a mature quality to have, because not everyone has that ability to kind of not take, like, to kind of step back and look at somebody as a whole person, even though they attacked you and tried to hurt you. Like, it's not everyone has that ability. And I think so good that you have
just think that was just boundaries that I set for myself right away, so that I didn't allow things to fester all the time, because otherwise I just would let things fester. Because the beauty about the internet in general is that the internet gives people microphones and masks. So it is this platform that can be so beautiful because it gives me, literally a nobody, from Spryfield, Halifax, Nova Scotia, and a microphone to share my life and to make people feel good. But it also gives millions of people a mask.
And they're typing on a keyboard.
Right.
With a mask.
So, and that's the part that is so hard with people with the internet in general, is that you have to realize that it gives, although it does good things, it also breeds this anonymous culture that people take advantage of. And so it's like you have to set boundaries for yourself on what you are going to allow to bother you and what you're not going to allow to bother you. And the quicker you do that, the easier having a platform is. Like I learned that right away. That was like the first thing that I taught myself, because otherwise you'll just, like everybody else,
oh my gosh,
spend too much time dwelling on
things that don't matter.
Yeah.
One of my favorite clapbacks that you did involves the podcast I work on, Canadian Love Map. There was a comment on the Facebook video about okay, so we should, I'm sure you guys know, but we'll do a quick summary of this. Which Alicia got through a podcast that I'm working on, Canadian Love Map. We decided to do an episode with her and Scott, and Charm just loved you so much
out of me
that they decided to give you an engagement ring because you didn't have one before.
Crazy.
And so it was this whole, like, that's how I met you, and it was this big production in the Charm store, and it was probably a day like no one will forget. Like I'm like, you'll never forget it.
I'll never forget
but like it was just so like emotional. Amazing. Like we were all crying. It was unreal. But someone commented on a picture from Love Map being like, I can't believe she got like a cheap Charm ring or something like that. She deserves more than
so much better. And I was like, Deborah, stop.
And this person said she was a follower of yours.
Yeah. So I replied back and said, you're no follower of mine if you think that you're going to come onto a brand that has literally given me a ring and has been nothing but supportive to me and try to belittle them, because you're not. So I was like, do me a quick favor and hit the unfollow button.
I loved it.
Yeah. And then it's just people on the internet in general are just too much. And especially when they put themselves out there like that. And then the person who they're like you're not going to be, I've done it multiple times. It's my favorite thing to do on the internet. If I'm on a video of somebody I support and love, if I see a comment and I click on that video and I go to their profile and they're a follower of mine, you can unfollow on TikTok. So I can literally make them remove as follower.
You remove them.
So I remove them as a follower and I go on and I tell them. I know people are like, oh, I hate it when people announce their departure from my content, because like I could literally care less. So, but for this, it's like the opposite. It's funnier because like I'm going to choose for you that you're not going to be a follower of mine because you're just not worthy of it. So like I will do that now. When I see comments, I'll be like, I noticed that you were following me, so you're not anymore, because my followers don't come on to other people's videos and make people feel bad. We don't do that in my community. So you can't be in my community.
Goddamn.
Yeah. So
goddamn.
So I do that. I do that a lot. And if the comment is serious enough, I block the person, because that's the other thing that I do, and a boundary that I've set for myself on Instagram and TikTok, is that if somebody announces their departure from my content, I block them, because you are not going to try to make me feel bad for my content or something I say or do, and then not follow me, but then come back and indulge my content because my profile is open.
Yeah, you don't get that. No, you don't get that.
No. So I always, if somebody says they're blocking me or they're unfollowing me or anything of those lines, or I see that they've made a comment or they belittled somebody, I'm like, yeah, if you're going to do the deleting, I'm going to make sure that you can no longer come back to view my content, because that's not how this works. You don't get to pick and choose. And that's just a boundary for me as a creator. It's like, I'm putting out this free content. You're not going to come into my DMs, try to make me feel bad, unfollow me, which drops my statistics, and then attempt to come back every Tuesday to watch all of my videos, because I know people do that. So it's like, if you're going to choose to not have my content because something that I've done has pissed you off, then I'm going to make sure that you can no longer see my content.
Just the cockiness of being someone who could write in a comment. Like, this is what I don't get. Well, number one, I don't understand the audacity to even put a negative comment on anything, because like if I see a TikTok that I'm not into, or if I don't like I just scroll past it. Same with YouTube. If it's a video I don't enjoy, I don't don't leave 1-star iTunes reviews on podcasts. Like, why would you do that? Only review if you like it. Like, I don't know. I just don't understand why people think that they're so high and mighty to go, I'm unfollowing you.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. I always want to create a culture of welcome criticism on my platform. I gained 1.5 million followers in less than a year. I have multiple people watching me now, which is new to me. I am a normal human being that is living her life, that is learning as she grows, that is, I am not, people hold me to this high standard, but I am just like you. Yeah. I am learning. I am having a platform comes with the responsibility to, speak out for and amplify voices that need to be heard. Like there's multiple things that come along, but I am learning because I didn't have this a year ago. I have it now and I didn't have it a year ago. And there's a lot that has to happen between then and now to get that type of, a lot of people have that static growth and they learn things as they go. I was literally put into it and I'm very grateful for it, but with that also comes some type of honesty and understanding with my growth and using my words and things. So I always want to create an open culture of message me. If I am your friend and I say something to you that is offensive, fucking call me the fuck out. Like tell me that I said that and why that made you feel that way.
Right.
Because either I'm going to agree with you or I'm not going to agree with you. And obviously when it comes to race and the LGBTQ community and those types of things, like there's no me agreeing or not agreeing. If I'm not using the right pronouns or if I'm not using the right wording when I'm speaking about something, like tell me, because I don't know everything. I am literally nobody who got a platform being funny and posting about self-love and body positivity. So like I don't know everything there is to know about the Black community. I don't know everything there is to know about the LGBTQ plus community, but I'm learning and I spend a lot of my time learning and educating myself and trying to unlearn biases that I have and trying to be aware of the privilege that I have. So I've spent a lot of the time doing that, but I don't know everything. So I always try to create this community of let me know. Like I posted the other day about beaver tails.
Yes, I saw that.
I posted about beaver tails. I just learned that in the Indigenous community up north, beaver tails are actually an edible food source.
Right.
So that I didn't know that. So when I post, we don't actually eat beaver tail, a lady that follows me kindly messaged me and said, we actually do in the Indigenous community eat beaver tail. And I was like, wow, like I had no idea. That's totally cool. She sent me an article. I read the article. I asked her if my wording offended her at all. I would have deleted it. Like, did my wording say we don't actually eat? I could see why that might be offensive to somebody who is Indigenous and does. And she was like, no, it wasn't your wording. I just wanted you to know that part of the Indigenous community does eat beaver tail. So now I know that people do and how they do it. Like I know how to cook one. I literally, but that's the cool part about having a platform and having that open door policy with my followers is like, tell me if I'm saying something that could possibly be harmful, because if you know me and you know the platform that I have, then you know my intention as a human being is never to make somebody feel bad.
Right.
There are people whose intentions are.
Yeah.
But if you know me and you followed me long enough, then you should know that I would never want to hurt you. So if you ever come to my content and you feel hurt, then let me know and I'll try to explain my side of things. And I'll be educated. So like at the end of the day, but most of the people who unfollow me, it's like if I post anything that's like anti-Trump or like my political views and
that's a whole other
thing. But at the end of the day, if we can disagree on a lot of things, but if we're going to disagree on human rights, then I'm not having this conversation with you. And that is very much bottom line what it is for a lot of people. So I had a lot of people choose to leave my platform when I posted openly about the Black Lives Matter movement and when I was posting about fundraising and donating to Black charities and things like that. Like, but those were followers that I'm like, okay, cool. Because I don't want to create my content for you if you aren't willing to sit here and educate yourself, because I do realize that there are people who follow me that are also learning from me. Like, I'm not naive to realize that there are people who might not see the severity of this, like, the systemic racism that happens in Canada and the United States, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I realize that there are people that don't see those severities and are very, blind to it. So me posting about it isn't meant to shove it down your throat. It's meant to show you that it is happening, and it is there. And while I'm learning about it, if I can share resources that help you learn about it, then cool. Like that's right. That's kind of about it. But I had a lot of people that were like very hateful, and if I'm getting it as a white woman, I could just assume what was happening too. So I let that stuff kind of go. But that is also another big part about having a platform in general too, is like learning your boundaries on who you care about having as followers and who you don't care about having as followers.
But I think you have so much value in, you need to treat people with respect. And I think that it's like, you might not have the same political affiliation, but the second that you step over the line of treating people with respect, like that's when it's done.
And I think too, like the other part, and like when we had talked about earlier about influencers and content creators, is like there are influencers who build their influence and have a platform and choose to stay silent because they're afraid of losing followers, or because they're afraid of, and I don't care. So I don't, if me telling you that there's an injustice for the Black community in the United States offends you, then you can see yourself out.
See you later.
Yeah, like you can see yourself out. And there are certain times that I choose to speak, and there's certain times that I sit back and I'm still learning on when and what's appropriate. And like, that's part of having a platform. But that's been a huge learning process for me, is like, when do I step up as a privileged white woman to say something for the Black community, and when do I sit back and just amplify the voices? And so it's like, it is a fine line, but my community has been amazing in stepping in to say this was impactful, or just tonight I had a follower message me, and she's like, I am a Black Canadian. I know that you didn't do this as a thank you, but I just want to tell you this. And then when I said something, she came back with and said, I don't want to critique your like wording, but this is how I felt when you said this. And I was like, thank you. And I was like, this was my intention behind it. And she said, oh, okay, that makes sense. And it's just like a dynamic conversation, which is the way that it should be.
Yes.
And like, that's another, like, that's just been part of my learning process over the last like months.
And you're doing that. Okay. So here's my other question. Do you have someone to confide in when you have to make these? I mean, Scott's there, but like you're your own boss right now. It's not like you can go to your manager and say, what do I do, boss? Like, you're it. So like, do you have anyone that you confide in when you are in those moments of like, what do I post, or like, how do I approach this? Like,
do you follow the Birds Papaya?
I do now because you were on it.
So I love Sarah. And Sarah,
thanks so much.
Sarah Nicole Landry is her name, but she goes by the Birds Papaya.
Love
online. That's like the kind of label she's created for herself. And she too has a podcast, which I was on. She's been a big support for me with a lot of stuff, and not specifically about posting, but just like to vent to for support, or like learning how to set boundaries, and learning how to like, how should I feel about this, and how should I
right.
Do you Trailer Trash Tammy?
That's familiar.
Yeah, it's Chelsea Lynn. She's been super helpful, and there's the people don't realize how close knit a lot of the self-love community specifically is. And I think that comes a lot to do with like our message and what we're promoting too, is that's like, we just want the message to be promoted, and we want the more people that are doing it, eventually like it's gotta catch on, like eventually it's just gotta be helpful. So a lot of those women in this, and I learn indirectly. So like I don't ever post anything unless I'm educated on it. So it'll sometimes happen that something will happen and I'm out. I'm doing something. I'm off social media for multiple hours, and then I'll get DMs being like, you didn't post about this, or you need to post about this. And I'm very open on it, and I don't know about it, and I'm not posting about it. if I haven't been able to sit down for an hour of my time to read multiple news articles about it, to listen to other content creators' platforms, to listen to the voices that it's directly affecting, I'm not posting about it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not blindly posting on my platform.
Just because your followers are telling you to.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
And it's not like, that's not who I am. That's not how I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to take my time to figure out how I want to word things. I'm going to take my time to read the fucking room.
Yeah.
Like let's see how people are, specifically with what happened in the United States. Like, I sat back and I listened to the Black women that I follow express how they were feeling, what was going on, how did they feel. It's not my time to speak up. No, I don't need to share about how sad it is that this is happening. The Black community knows. They live it, they breathe it. This is what they go through on a regular basis. They didn't need me to post a meme about how there was a discrepancy between what would have happened if the community was Black versus what happened to the white supremacists. They don't need me to tell them that. They know it. I don't have, that doesn't do anything. What they need me to do is to listen and to educate myself and to take action. So, like, to do something. Right. So that's what I did, and that's what I do. So that's another boundary that I set, which was actually taught to me by who was it? Someone who I followed early on, was just like, don't contribute to the hysteria of what's going on by sharing things that literally do nothing. Like, that being shared does nothing but share your opinion. Like, share your opinion. Right. Sharing a meme is like an easy way to just kind of say you agree with what these people are feeling with, but like, just share your opinion or do something actionable. So it's been overwhelming.
It sounds, I feel tired for you, because I'm mostly just like, just the idea of managing all these duties on a day to day, and the organization it takes and the time management it takes. Like, are you tired? Are you exhausted? like honestly, like,
so messed up. That's like been the hardest part for me, is that I'm up until like 2:30 or 3 o'clock.
I noticed that you're a night owl just like me.
Such a night owl.
Do you also get up early though?
No. So then it's like 11 a.m. Yes. 11 a.m. So if like I have content deadlines or if I have anything like that, it just fucks me up. Yeah. So like I'm tired, but I don't feel tired like I felt when I was working like a 9 to 5 before.
You're fulfilled tired.
Yeah.
It's like a fulfilled tired
because I'm doing something that I love doing. And I think that I never really realized that there was a difference, but there is very much a difference. You know, like there's very much a difference in it. But it's like again, I have a privilege right now to like have this platform and to live the life that I'm living. So it's like being tired, it's a privilege to me now, because it's like I get to live my life how I want to live. Right. Whereas when I was feeling tired before, it was because I was literally like working myself so deep
probably
into the ground for
emotionally exhausted.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's exhausting with like certain things, but at the same time, it is the coolest. There's no other way to describe it. It's just cool. Like, it is so cool to like meet people and make people feel good and have somebody buy a pair of jeans because you suggest it for them, and then have them be like I had a mom send me a picture yesterday saying that she never had bought jeans from American Eagle before and didn't realize that she could fit into them, and then she bought herself plus size jeans from American Eagle, and how they're the comfiest pair of jeans she's ever worn, and that her daughters complimented her on how stylish she looked in them and how cool that felt. And like that is an impact that I want to have. Mm-hmm. That's important to me, because there's a lot of things that I want to share with people to make them feel better, because I've been there and I've gone through it. And like, people look at me and they're like, oh, you're so calm and confident. And it's like, I worked really hard for this. Like, I worked really hard on myself to get to this point. And I work every day. And it's not an easy thing.
Yes. that is a wrap on part 1 with Alicia Mccarvell. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I sure freaking did. Please be sure to tune in to part 2 coming next Friday, where we dive into body positivity, self-love, and confidence. And of course, because we did not plan for a 2-part episode, I'm giving Alicia a formal outro here to say follow her on social media. That is TikTok and Instagram at Alicia Mccarvell. You will not regret it. You will be hooked for sure. And the biggest thank you ever to Alicia Mccarvell for coming on and being an amazing guest. And thank you for tuning in. Of course, make sure that you are subscribed to Intoxicated and consider leaving an Apple Podcast rating or review, and tell your friends. I hope you'll tune in next week for the second part of this episode. But for now, ring that bell.